South Africa plays host to the 4th Sports Fishing World Games, brought to you by SASAC, the South African Sports Angling Confederation, which is the governing body of angling and casting in South Africa. The international governing body is known as CIPS, the Confédération Internationale de la Pêche Sportive. There are 3 different international federations under CIPS, namely the Saltwater Federation, FIPS-MER, the Freshwater Federation, FIPS-ED, and the Fly Fishing Federation, FIPS-MACHE. The CIPS membership stretches all over the world. It is the only organization which represents the great community of sport fishing, with 148 national federation members from 77 countries and 1 international fishing organization, representing altogether a staggering 50 million members belonging to CIPS. Although this might be a mouthful for some, it basically means that the Sport Fishing World Games is where all the facets from across the globe come together to compete. This is also known as the Olympics of Fishing. There are multiple World Championships and Region 5 tournaments in each of the disciplines of freshwater, saltwater, and fly fishing that is hosted simultaneously over a period of 1 week all over South Africa. This is also the first time that the Fishing World Games is held outside of Europe, with the 4th edition held in South Africa. The previous events were hosted by Portugal and twice by Italy, with the last event hosted in 2011. In 2013, South Africa was requested to host this spectacular event. The criteria were met, and with an array of venues, it was possible to host the various disciplines of angling. With a lot of countries not having a coastline, inland water or rivers for the trout fishing, South Africa was the best outfit for the prestigious event. The road from 2013 had its challenges. There was a lot of financial difficulties, and with initiatives to raise funds, partnerships with corporate companies, the innumerable amount of man hours and negotiations with the venues, we had to make it work. With the opening ceremony of the 2019 Sports Fishing World Games, we saw 50 countries gathering at the Nelson Mandela Square in Sandton. Under the majestic sound of bagpipes and beating drums of the SANDF Irish Marching Band, we welcomed 1,900 of the world's best anglers to our beautiful country to partake in the most participated sport in the world. Flags were held high. Friends and foe came together for this iconic event, with every angler having the prestigious FIPS Gold Medal in mind. Numerous supporters came out to witness this epic event. The anglers from the freshwater fishing for the disabled section had the opportunity to act as flag bearers for the different countries. Soon the marching band's sound filled the streets of Sandton, followed by the CIPS and FIPS delegates. One by one, the countries emerged from the Mandela Square in the traditional street parade. This Fishing World Games showcased some newcomers to the international arena in some of the championships, which included a very strong Australian team, Ireland and Scotland. The most anglers per country were entered by Italy. From neighbouring country Namibia and the host nation South Africa. The streets of Sandton was filled with a colourful display and the parade, which ended at the Sandton Convention Centre, where the teams took their seats awaiting the opening of the Fishing World Games. Utilising the Sandton Convention Centre for the hosting of the opening ceremony was a major breakthrough, and we wanted to host it in such a manner that everyone would have to be proud for being part of it and leave here with great memories of the event. The festivities kicked off in the true South African way. The General Secretary of SASAC, Andries Maria, opened the proceedings with an emotional and heartfelt prayer. The countries were introduced, accompanied by the playing of their national anthems. The beautiful flower of Scotland and the Stars and Stripes could be heard through the hall of the centre. The last country to be announced was South Africa. A phenomenal sight as the best anglers in South Africa rose to sing Nkosi Sikeleli, Africa. A proud moment for each and every angler as well as supporters.
Let us live and strive for freedom in South Africa, our land.
With these reflections, I declare officially opened the 4th World Sport Fishing Games.
Avec ces quelques...
With the Sports Fishing World Games now declared open by the SIP's president, the anglers can depart to their different participating venues. 13 World Championships and 2 Region 5 tournaments were held over a period of a week. We kicked the tournament off with 4 freshwater angling events, consisting of the Carp angling, bank angling, feeder and coarse angling championships. Bloemhof Dam, the Bamboo Spruit, and Verlaten Kraals Bank will be packed to the brim with the world's best carp anglers, with 24 countries entering to participate in this championship. The anglers will compete for 72 hours non-stop. This event is very special from an organisational point of view. 4 new countries entered this tournament, with Australia, New Zealand, Scotland and Wales partaking in this event. The South Africans are the favourite to win this championship. A historic event will be taking place at Leeuwplaas when the bank angling facet joins the World Games for the first time. This will be known as a guest event, and we will see the likes of Namibia, Zimbabwe and Australia fighting it out against South Africa for gold. Special approval had to be obtained from the International Freshwater Federation for South Africa to host this event. With this discipline being regarded as one of the most participated sports in South Africa, the organisers felt that this would be the perfect time to give this event national and international exposure, taking this discipline from a Region 5 to an international platform. With possible approval from the International Federation, we will now see the 4 countries battle it out at the Voldam over a 3-day period. The event will be divided into 4 categories, namely the seniors, the juniors, the ladies and the masters. Again, South Africa is looking to dominate this event by quite a margin. The Feeder Championships is the 3rd freshwater event that will be hosted at Verlaten Kraal and Bloemhof Dam. We will see 20 nations enrolled in this championship. With substantial growth in Europe every year, the competition is going to be tough for the South Africans, with nations like Italy, England, Hungary and Netherlands looking like the favourites to walk away with the spoils. The Coarse Championships, or match fishing as we know it, will be held at the Vaal River. This is the most practiced fishing discipline in Europe, and with the two sections of masters and ladies competing, the competition will be extremely tough for the South Africans. This facet comprises of anglers using a 13 or an 11.5 meter graphite pole to catch the fish. As we head up north to Mpumalanga, we take a look at our first freshwater boat angling event. The Carnivorous boat fishing, or art lure as we know it, will be held at Loskop Dam over a 4-day period. The gist of this event is to catch as many predator fish, like catfish, yellowfish, and all the bass and bream species. The countries can only utilize artificial lures. Live bait in this event is strictly prohibited. With boats and skippers provided by South Africa, this event will host its own unique challenges, with most of the international teams being familiar with only the bass. Loskop Dam is renowned for its water clarity, but when thunderstorms hit the mountains, it can become a volatile place to fish. We head down to the Vaal River and we take a look at our second freshwater boat angling event. The Bass Championships is one of the highlights of the Fishing World Games, and with South Africa currently ranked #1 in the world, countries like USA and Mexico are out here to prove a point. With lots of rain and murky water conditions, this event will provide a great challenge to the anglers. We head down to Mossel Bay where the Light Tackle Boat Championships will take place. This is our second guest event, and the main focus of this event was to get approval from the Saltwater Federation to recognize the discipline as an international event. With consent, the previously Region 5 tournament between South Africa, Zimbabwe and Namibia could be internationally recognized. With the teams fishing in close proximity to the harbour and shoreline, the main objective is to catch as many fish by utilizing only bait fish. The Big Game Championships will be taking place at Saltwater Bay, where the teams will be focusing on catching only specific game fish species, like marlin, wahoo, sailfish and tuna. By using the trolling method, the teams are only allowed to use lures. With boats and skippers provided by South Africa, the anglers will take to sea. This event will be held over a period of 3 days. The anglers will be up for some great challenges with the best game fish that Saltwater Bay has to offer. The Saltwater Shore Angling Championships sees Langebaan on the west coast play host to some of the world's best rock and surf anglers. With Langebaan being a nodal point for accommodation and some vast sandy shores north of Veldrift. It is the perfect place to host this event, considering the number of anglers participating. We move inland as we take a look at another saltwater event. The venue, Fontein, Pretoria. The Distance Casting Championships will be held over a 4-day period. This facet will have various categories in different weight classes and line thickness. With a high altitude and having the wind in their favour, new world records are bound to be broken this year. Our last facet is the Fly Fishing Championships that will be held in Dullstroom. This is the first time South Africa will be hosting this event. Two dams and a river section will test the skills of the anglers. The organisers are very excited about this championship. Prior to this event, the competition sectors or dams and the rivers had to be stocked with enough trout to make sure that the competition would be fair and the angling would be on an even keel. With conservation in mind and the fact that the trout are not able to endure hardship, the international rules determined that it prohibited the use of barbed hooks. The conservation of all the fish in the Fishing World Games is crucial. Strict rules are put in place to ensure that each fish caught needs to be properly handled and taken care of during the weighing or measuring process, after which it will be released. The organisers of the Big Game Championships will ensure that no fish will be gaffed. Video footage will provide enough evidence of a catch to qualify, and no fish will be removed from the ocean. With the Carp Angling Championship, the fish are safely put in carp bags and released once the weighing commenced. With the Bass and Carnivorous Championship, the fish are kept in live wells on the boat, with a continuous cycling of fresh water to keep the fish alive. No dead fish will be weighed or measured. The guest event like bank angling and the light tackle boat tournaments will be kept under a close eye by the International Federation, and if South Africa succeeds in the proper execution of these events, they will have a place in the future as being international events on the world stage. The 2019 Sports Fishing World Games could not have been made possible if it wasn't for the sponsors. With SuperSport playing a huge role in the broadcast of this event, we will now have the chance to see these different facets in action. We thank you, SuperSport. Let the fishing games begin.